Welcome to On My Frequency, the podcast where personal growth meets game-changing insight. I'm B Nabugu, your guide to leveling up your life with ChatGPT-powered book summaries and actionable strategies from the most influential personal development books. Whether it's timeless wisdom or fresh ideas from new thought leaders, we're diving deep to help you unlock your potential and live your best life. Want even more? Check out the description box on the platform you're listening on for exclusive access to my free newsletter, The Rich Mommies Club, where I share my personal notes, tools, and daily tips to keep you inspired. Let's get into it. Hello, beautiful souls. So today's episode was going to be a ChatGPT book summary and discussion on Oliver Burkeman's 4,000 Weeks Time Management for Mortals. I started my day by asking ChatGPT, what is the biggest pain point for people when it comes to personal development? And it gave me an extensive list, starting with time management and production. And I asked it to give me a list of recommended books. What are the top books related to this topic? And 4,000 Weeks Time Management for Mortals was the first that came up. And the way that I use ChatGPT, I refined it further. Even though it already knows several things about me, I told it, I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm a housewife, I'm a homeschool mom, I've got 6 podcasts, I've got a YouTube, I do this, I do that, I cook, I clean. So basically just painting the picture of all of the things that I realistically do in my life experience. And, what books could potentially give me some pointers as well as my listeners. It gave me some pointers, and overall, honestly, I wasn't really super excited or resonating with it. Now, if you're listening here, regardless of what platform you're listening on, if you have any interest of actually diving into that book, let me know down in the comments, and we can always circle back around and revisit. But what I will do is let me scroll down and see something. Oh, here's what it is. Something in this book, and this is what I love about books and knowledge. When it comes to reading books, if you're someone, or even if you are not someone, sometimes as humans in different phases in life, we might feel more intimidated by books or things like that, just as far as it's just what we were just talking about, time. Actually having the time, energy, motivation, or amongst all of the other things that there is to do, as much as we want the information, opening a book sometimes just doesn't always happen. But don't know what spiraled me off into that conversation, but I will bring it back to what made me think of what we're leading into in today's topic. And that was the 7th point that ChatGPT gave me in regards to that book that I mentioned, which it says, practice doing nothing. Allow yourself moments of idleness. This can foster creativity and provide mental rest, countering the constant drive to be productive. He encourages practice doing nothing. And of course, y'all know I love me some Neville Goddard. This immediately reminded me of Neville Goddard, No Effort, which I absolutely love. So we're actually going to talk about Neville Goddard today. So I went on over to ChatGPT. Now, while I know plenty about Neville Goddard and I've listened to several of his lectures and listened to plenty of his audiobooks, I found out, and also as I assumed, there's so much more information that I'm sure I haven't encountered. So let's just go through this info together. So I said, tell me everything there is to know about Neville Goddard and his teachings. Give me a list of actionable steps to apply to my life based on his teachings to improve my life today. So ChatGPT says, who was Neville Goddard? Neville Goddard, 1905 to 1972, was a prominent mystic, author, and lecturer known for his teachings on the power of imagination, manifestation, and the nature of reality. Born in Barbados, he immigrated to the United States, where he spent most of his life sharing his ideas about consciousness and the creative power of the mind. Goddard's philosophy centers on the ideas that imagination creates reality, and by consciously directing our imaginations, we can manifest desired outcomes in our lives. His work has influenced the New Thought movement, law of attraction practices, and self-help philosophy. Key concepts of Neville Goddard's teachings. 1. Imagination creates reality. I love this and I'm so excited about it because, as many of you guys know, I create a lot on Canva. And when you're downloading something on Canva, if you're not sure what that is, it's almost similar to Photoshop. That's just like the easiest way for me to describe it, but it's how you can create graphics. But yes, so when you're downloading an image or a product or something from Canva, different quotes come up speaking about imagination. And I actually have some in my phone screenshotted. I'm not even going to waste any time pulling them up right now. But let me think if I can remember. One of the quotes was like, creativity is your imagination having fun. And that quote is by someone actually very popular and well known, but I can't think of who it is at this time. So let's see. Imagination creates reality. Your imagination is not just fantasy. It is the tool through which reality is created. What you imagine consistently and vividly manifests in the physical world. 2. This is something that I reference very often. Living in the end. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. To manifest something, you must act, think, and feel as though it has already happened. Same thing as celebrating something before it shows up. Number 3, consciousness is the only reality. Your external world is a reflection of your inner state. By changing your inner thoughts and beliefs, you can change your reality. Oh man, this is so true. This is so true. And the times where life is really, really tough and challenging. Now, many of you all listening may know that I personally am not religious. I don't follow a particular religion. And mommy brain is kicking in. This is so funny. I actually, my thought just floated off into the universe. Let me just read here and pick up where I left off. So consciousness is the only reality. Oh, so the reason why I brought up religion is because sometimes you'll hear people say why did God put me through that? Or why did God allow that to happen? Or why would someone, this is usually the voice of somebody that might be kind of low on their faith or down on their faith or something like that. Why would God let something like this happen? And obviously, as someone that was a Christian woman, that is not the correct mentality to have in that religion either. No matter what religion or practice or whatever it is that you follow, your belief system, you can either choose to have positive thoughts about it or negative thoughts about it. No matter what power or force you're following or leaning on for strength, it's like you still have to do your part in having a positive attitude. So my point is saying that is, it doesn't mean let's just blame ourselves for things that are going wrong, but you can really genuinely ask yourself, did I have the utmost positive idea or thought process on this that I possibly could have? And I'll share one of my favorite affirmations with you all. There's a meditation video that I've been listening on YouTube literally probably for at least 7 years. And it's peace affirmations. I can't remember off the top who it's by. But one of the affirmations says, I accept all news with peace in my heart. And I really appreciate that affirmation because I have several affirmations that I can pull on in the past when times were challenging. And, even basically just sharing that no matter what religion or practice that you follow, you can change your ideas and thought processes on whatever it is that you're hoping or wishing for, and even the experiences that you're having in life. At times that I needed money in my life, I would affirm I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm so rich. So there's that. Number four, revision. Reimagine past events to alter their impact on your current life. By revising how you remember something, you change its effect on your psyche and future. I can definitely say that revision has been coming up to me often. I swear I've been talking about the Cutie Af's YouTube channel so much, but they actually have a song meditation on there about revision. And because that energy keeps flowing to me, and that is an area in my life that I would enjoy spending some time on, I'm actually going to play that when I get off of here, and I'm going to meditate on that sound. But I definitely like that concept. We have an affirmation written on a sticky on our wall that says, I've always had the perfect life. So it's like, for me in particular, I know that I consume so much personal development and information. Sometimes I just live it. Like how I just said, I could spend some time working on that area. When you know it, you just live it. It's part of your consciousness. Number 5, faith and belief. Belief is the foundation of manifestation. You must truly believe in the reality of your imagination. Reading this sentence, if I didn't fully understand what it meant, this could easily go over somebody's head. What it's literally saying is that in order to manifest something, you have to literally believe it. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong when it comes to manifestation. I think people learn about manifestation. They hear, oh, you can have whatever you want if you think about it or if you put your mind to it. And what do most people want? They'll probably name out $1 million, a mansion, like those types of things. And literally taking a survey, talking to human beings, a large population doesn't actually believe that abundance is their birthright. There's part of the population that really genuinely believes that. Like I just literally know that I was born to be rich and famous. Even after I decided, like, you know what? All that is not what it's cracked up to be. After you've manifested it, okay, now I'm spiraling off. But anywho, number 6, I love this one. The power of assumption. Assuming the feeling of already having what you want leads to its manifestation. And again, this sentence right here, and that's the thing about a ChatGPT summary. Like it's literally just that. It's just a summary. And I'm going to scroll down and share with you all of Neville's works and lectures, books and things like that. Only so much of these hours and hour-long lectures can fit into a small summary of a list of 9 or so main tips. But the reason why I'm saying this is so powerful, assuming the feeling of already having what you want leads to its manifestation, it's like you have to feel it so deep in your bones that it will make you cry. Like if you cannot physically, mentally, spiritually, if you can't use all 6 of your senses, including your third eye, if you can't see, feel, taste it with all of your senses, like you got to do some more work on the manifestation. Because that's the only way that you can assume the feeling. It's so funny. Several years ago, we were so deep in this information and several other information, but my hubby and I, we went to the Rolls-Royce dealership and we had to see it. We had to smell it. Shoot, my hubby licked the tire, y'all. He licked the tire, y'all. And when I said I was spiraling off just a moment ago, I'm saying because our manifestations are so deeply ingrained. You know, when you're somebody that manifested being the most rich, famous person as a child, it's kind of something that you can't really undo. So moving on, number 7, feeling is the secret. And actually, this is so funny because I only read number 6 of that line, the power of assumption, but this is how you know I just am so in this information because I went on to describe the feeling is the secret. Your feelings and emotions are key drivers of manifestation. Feeling as if you already have what you desire is the secret to realizing it. Number 8, God within. God is not a separate entity, but exists within you as your own imagination and consciousness. Now, when I start talking this language, everybody's perception and perspective is based on a collection. I'm going to say this. You listening to this with your beautiful ears. Your beautiful ears are hearing this information from the perception and the lens of everything that creates who you are as a human being. That includes literally from conception to where you are today. Your school life experiences, the paradigms that your parents gave to you, your religious experiences. I already said school, like any mindset, your perception of this information and any and all information is simply based on, how you were raised and what you've been exposed to in your personal life experience. And I say that, you let my YouTube comments tell it. Some people really agreed with us. We dropped a video several years ago. It's called Neville Goddard, The Truth That Humankind is Not Ready to Hear. And I was actually speaking on this information and speaking on Neville Goddard's teachings. And some people were like, yes, B, we're so excited for the 5D combos. And some people were like, girl, I love you, but I'm not feeling you. That's that flower talking, girl. Had to think of a way I could say that's appropriate for all platforms. Anywho, when I came across this information, it was honestly, and I'm not going to dig too deep on I was going to say not too dig deep on the spiritual religious aspect, but I mean, that's what this is. That's what all of this is. To put it simply, what I'll say is, when I came across this information, it was almost, I guess, what people would call taboo. Which is basically things that people don't want to talk about. It's almost like every single human being on this planet was curious if they haven't found understanding on where they've come from and stuff like that. We're all human beings. Outside of the different walks that we live, we're all humans. We all are curious about how this all began and where we came from and all of those things. So coming across this information, if you are someone that has ever questioned the religion that you were introduced to or anything like that, when you come across this information, for me, I say that when I came across Neville Goddard, I felt like I discovered the truth that I knew all along. And I really didn't want to get religious, but sharing my personal experience for my whole life, honestly, I found myself trying really hard to resonate with the Bible. And this day and age, with all of the information and the consciousness that I have now, I can look in my spiritual journey. I got to a point where I was like, no, the Bible is fake. Like, I don't believe that and this and that. And, I had to level up my consciousness even farther. I had to level it up even farther to really understand. My husband was actually saying this mindset before I was, but he kind of was just saying whatever keeps you on your divine path, like whatever you choose that keeps you on your divine path, because ultimately, I mean, every angle is all a particular story. Your faith and your commitment to each individual story is up to you. I look at all of them like a story. Tarot cards, I read tarot, BX Tarot, podcast on all platforms. And it is really just that. It's a story. It's a reflection. All of them are a reflection. I've gotten so deep and far off of Neville right now. But they're all a reflection of your story and yourself. For example, with the tarot card, the journey starts at 0, the Fool, which is, a person that's just full of life and joy and carefree and just ready to step out into the next adventure and just got their little small hacky sack, didn't pack, just not here for a long time, just a good time, whatever they say. But I'm saying that to say, they're all a story and a reflection. So that brings us back to God is not a separate entity, but exists within you as your own imagination and consciousness. I can't really explain to you in just a short podcast how deep Neville really, really gets. And I want to move on to the next point so bad, but I'm just going to sit here with this for a moment, because when you discover that information, when it comes to religion, having a religious figure, Jesus, for example, it's like a dear friend, that's where you get the Father from. Like, it's like a dear person that you can lean on and console on. So it's like when you find this information and you find that God is not separate and it's within, it's like, well, like, who do you turn to? Like, what outside source do you turn to? And it's like, you could feel more lonely with that information, or you could feel completely empowered that instead of seeking outside of yourself, that you have all of that power within you. On today's episode, I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to keep it moving on that one. Number 9, mental diet. Guard your thoughts diligently. What you think and imagine consistently shapes your life and your life experience. Okay, you guys, let me give you just my personal take on this right here. When it comes to guarding your thoughts, I am all about season of separation. I'm all about separate from whoever it is that you need to live your best life and feel the most fulfilled in your personal life experience. And I never say life is too short. I never really do. I don't like saying that. But based on the book that we were going to review, I will say this. That book specifically speaks to the human being average lifespan of 80 years, 4,000 weeks. And to me, and to a lot of others that took that information, they felt like it was insultingly short. With that being said, life is too short to deal with things, people, places that don't serve you. And I can speak to this from both sides. I can speak to this from someone, a former people pleaser, a former, just didn't know how to cut toxicity out of my life. And I would just go on and deal with things for months and months and years and just complain about it. I used to be the type of person I would have to call all of my peeps. I would have to call all my main girls, all my people, and tell them about the bad day that I had at work. Tell them that what was going on in my crappy relationship. Just call and vent. And I have not been that person for years. One, because I go within, of course. But this just really comes into the mental diet, as far as sometimes solitude is just so much better than having nonsense around you and in your life. So yeah, there's that. But mental diet, let's specifically talk about, in one of my episodes of one of my podcasts, I was talking about cleaning up that Instagram timeline. And I think all the platforms on social media are pretty toxic, but I think Instagram is especially toxic. But my simple tip that I can insert here that I always share with people is, if you must scroll, because we all are guilty of doom scrolling now and then, if you must scroll, just practice the act of hitting unfollow. If you don't want to unfollow, hit mute. Just literally move things literally out of your eye gate so that you can guard your thoughts diligently, just like this says. Because it says what you think and imagine consistently shapes your life experience. So that's where social media is really dangerous, honestly, because I feel like if you're going to scroll, you kind of have to do the work, 10x your personal development work, because your brain, your mind, your imagination is constantly being exposed to other people's thoughts, minds, and imaginations. So while one person might not take it too deep as far as, you're just scrolling in social media, the reality is we all have to take a look and check our habits and say, am I really going to keep getting up and just scrolling first thing? And something else, another tip that I'll say here, and I actually just so happened to hear Haley Gamba talk about this on her podcast the other day, which is focus on creating 80% and consuming 20%. That's such a great tip, because I'm I'm all about consuming. I mean, I'm all not consuming. I'm all about creating, but I'm a creator, but the reality is we all are. I'm about to get deep and talk to you guys about how you're all part of infinite intelligence, but we're going to move on to the next step. So, as always, I always ask ChatGPT for actionable steps. So number 1, clarify your desire. Write down a specific goal or desire. Ensure it is something you genuinely want, not influenced by external expectations. This is so good. This is so good, and I'm so glad that they listed it as literally step 1. I've publicly shared that I've had different seasons of times where I just could not even concoct anything to manifest. And I'm sure that we'll come back around to this as far as the do nothing. When we get to his no effort, sometimes you literally just have to do nothing. But specifically on this, clarify your desire. You'd be so surprised that like you could have so many different ideas and dreams, but they're not really clear. I definitely noticed that like when my manifestations take too long to come about, it's because they need some refining, basically. So number 1, clarify your desire. Oh, and also just to speak on something that is genuinely what you want, not influenced by external expectations. That's another really dangerous part of social media as well, because this, death to ego, after post death to ego, and obviously there are several, but social media is just so ego filled to me. And it's like you can be scrolling down and you can get caught up in the, what's it called? Comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. And the reason I'm bringing this up here is because you can be scrolling down your timeline and now all of a sudden you weren't necessarily thinking about having a private jet. Now all of a sudden you need one. So making sure that it's something that you specifically want. It's easy to do that. It's easy to make somebody else's manifestations your own. I'm literally talking from personal experience. But it's all a beautiful part of the manifestation journey and process. Sometimes you have to see somebody else's manifestations, like see something that somebody else is really, really going for, and, play with your personal belief system. Your mind might start to believe that that's what you want or think that that's what you want. But if your mind can't actually attach the belief system that you actually believe you can have it, it's totally not going to happen. So clarity, clarity, clarity. Number 2, create a vivid scene. Imagine a short, detailed scene that implies your desire has been fulfilled. Example, if you want a new home, imagine standing in your dream kitchen, feeling the countertops and smelling your favorite meal cooking. This is so exciting. On my other podcast, the Rich Mommies Club, I actually created like a vivid scene. This would be for someone that wants to be a rich stay-at-home mom. I basically kind of created a scene where you close your eyes as the listener, and it's as if you went to an event that the Rich Mommies Club hosted, and I'm walking you through all of your senses, feeling what's taking place. So I love playing around with stuff like that. Number 3, enter a relaxed state. Before bed or upon waking, enter a state of relaxation, akin to meditation or drowning. Oh, sorry, so sorry. Or drowsiness. Forgive me. Before bed or upon waking, enter a state of relaxation, akin to meditation or drowsiness. This is when your subconscious is most receptive. Now, in the last episode, I actually brought this up, the state akin to sleep, because I asked ChatGPT to compare the alpha state with the state akin to sleep. So if you want to hear more on that, check out the most recent episode of On My Frequency from last week, where we talked about that was the Silva Mind Control Method by Jose Silva. Okay, so number 4, feel the wish fulfilled. In your relaxed state, replay your imagined scene repeatedly. Feel the emotions of already having your desire. Joy, gratitude, excitement. Number 5, assume it's done. Throughout your day, assume that your desire is already fulfilled. carry yourself as someone who already has what you want. Number 6, practice revision. Let me just skim back to number 5. I'm totally not about to dig into this, but the simple gem that I will insert here is I have literally lived my life and experienced being homeless, and literally nobody knew it, because there have been times where I had on a suit, or I still had on my red lippy, or I had on heels. I never, ever, ever broke character. I always carried myself for who I knew who I am. Okay, number 6, practice revision. At the end of the day, revise any negative events or thoughts. Reimagine them as positive outcomes and feel the relief or joy of the new scenario. I really like that. That's not necessarily something that I feel like again, with the revision, that I've intentionally done. And I feel like this is my first time putting thought to it as far as incorporating that into an everyday event ritual. I really like that. Number 7, affirmations and mental diet. Use affirmations that support your desire, such as, I am so grateful to live in my dream home. Avoid negative thoughts or doubts by catching and replacing them with positive affirming thoughts. Oh, wow, that's so good. I'm loving everything about this topic today. There has been a time in my life where I could not stop the negative thoughts. I just couldn't. And I say gratitude all day, every day, often. Everything is gratitude. My hubby says, good morning, gratitude. I ate something, gratitude. Anything, any and everything is gratitude all day, every day. So let me back up. Where was I going with that? Just a quick sec. Okay, well, somehow that thought has just floated away. So number 10, let go and trust. After you've planted the seed in your imagination, let go of the how and when. Trust that your imagination will manifest it in its due time. I personally have some particular manifestations that I sowed the seed a long time ago, and I'm honestly so excited to see it unfold, and I've really genuinely released the how and when. Was going to talk more about it, but let's keep on flowing. We're going to trust that our imagination is going to manifest all in due time. So sample daily routine to apply these teachings. Number 1, morning. Upon waking, spend 5 to 10 minutes visualizing your desired outcome. Let me insert this here too, because this is not just a podcast, you guys. I want you guys to understand that on my frequency, you are listening to a person that has really experienced quite a bit. I've rubbed shoulders with quite a few people, and I love that. I love that for me, and I love that for you guys, because like I said with information, once you receive that information, you literally regurgitate it. And I'm just so deep in this information. At one point, my previous mentor actually told me that this is something that was in her particular routine. So, this isn't just information this isn't just a book that you just read and put back down. Millionaires are really living and applying this information. Okay, so feel gratitude and joy as if it has already happened. 2, throughout the day, monitor your thoughts, mental diet, replace doubts with affirmations, act and speak as if your desire is already fulfilled. 3, in the evening, before sleep, enter a relaxed state and replay your imagined scene. Feel the emotions deeply and drift to sleep with this feeling. 4, daily revision. Reflect on the day and revise any undesirable experiences in your mind. So I asked ChatGPT, what are all of his works, books, and speeches, etc.? So it said, Neville Goddard authored several books and gave numerous lectures throughout his career. His works are primarily focused on the power of imagination, consciousness, and the nature of reality. Number one, these are books by Neville. He's got At Your Command in 1939. Well, I'm not going to skim through them. I'm going to read the little mini description that it gave me because it's valuable. A concise introduction to Neville's core teachings on the power of assumption and imagination. 2. Your Faith is Your Fortune, 1941. Discusses the concept of the divine within and how faith shapes your reality. Number 3. Freedom for All, 1942. Explores the power of imagination and how you can manifest desires by embodying your assumptions. Number 4. Feeling is the Secret, 1944. Focuses on the importance of emotions and feelings in the manifestation process. Number 5. Prayer, The Art of Believing, 1945. Delves into how prayer, visualization, and belief shape your life experience. Number 6, The Search, 1946. A short book on spiritual awakening and self-discovery. Number 7, Out of This World, 1949. Explores parallel realities and the power of imagination in shaping different outcomes. Number 8, The Power of Awareness, 1952. One of Neville's most influential works on self-awareness, consciousness, and reality creation. Wow, there's so many. Number 9, Awakened Imagination, 1954. A guide on using creative visualization and imagination to change your life. Number 10, Seed Time and Harvest, 1956. Discusses the principles of sowing, imagination, and reaping, manifestation. Number 11, The Law and the Promise, contains real-life stories and testimonials from people who applied Neville's teachings successfully. That is actually going to be a really good read. Maybe I'll read that one next. Number 12, He Breaks the Shell, which is compiled lectures. 13, Resurrection, 1966, combines autobiographical elements and deeper metaphysical teachings on spiritual awakening. I'm actually interested in reading that one as well. 14, 5 Lessons, 1948. Based on a series of 5 lectures that offer a comprehensive introduction to Neville's teachings. So he also has a lecture collections. Neville Goddard gave hundreds of lectures during his lifetime. Wow, hundreds. That's crazy. Many were transcribed and are available online or in collected volumes. Some well-known lecture collections include The Complete Reader and the Neville Goddard Lecture Series. It says it's available as free PDFs or in physical copies. Okay, wow. Let's see if there's anything else that I want to share with you guys. Themes across his work: the power of assumption, imagine as God, faith and belief, self-identity, the law and the promise. So I said, give me a list of actionable key points from all of his books and lectures. Actionable key points from Neville Goddard's teachings. Number 1, At Your Command, actionable steps. Declare your desires boldly. Use I am statements to affirm your desired. Example, I am successful. I am loved. Assume the feeling. Avoid negations. Let's not repeat ourselves. Let me just see. Have we seen all of this? Desire, assumption, visualize. Sometimes I like to ask ChatGPT the same thing several different ways so that I can make sure that it gave me a full scope of information. And let's see here. Actionable steps, self-inquiry, reflect on who you are and what you truly desire. Explore parallel realities, imagine different outcomes and believe in their reality. Detach from current reality. Don't let present circumstances dictate what's possible. And visualizing, it's emphasizing on multiple times a day. Expand your self-concept, redefine how you see yourself. And I'm just going to put my own interjection here. You have the ability to make people see you how you want them to, and people see you how you see yourself. Okay, consciously choosing thoughts, observing awareness. We've totally seen all of this. Okay, so we've pretty much seen everything that it is that Neville really stands for and talks about. I would love to hear you all's feedback. I would love to know, is this your first time hearing about Neville Goddard? Is this your first time hearing the concept of the God within? Talk to me. Do you use visualization techniques right now? I want to hear all of your feedback. So thank you so much for your time and joining me on this episode, and I will see you next week. Thank you for tuning into On My Frequency. If today's episode sparked something in you, be sure to follow this podcast so you never miss a new insight. And if you found value here, share it with someone ready to grow alongside you. For exclusive tips, tools, and behind-the-scenes content, check the description box on your platform to subscribe to my free newsletter, The Rich Mommies Club. Let's keep the momentum going. Remember, the frequency of your growth is yours to set. See you next time, beautiful soul.